Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. Today is Saturday, February 29th, 2020, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Super Tuesday projected results from the FiveThirtyEight website. This, electoral prediction in terms of the Democratic primary pretty much is before today occurred, the South Carolina Democratic primary. To be completely honest, not much is going to change in terms of estimated delegate count. Not every delegate has been allocated in this prediction, so keep that in mind. We may not see every single state fully filled up. That is because there is still some uncertainty as to who will be actually entering into the race in Super Tuesday. There could be some possible dropouts tomorrow, no guarantee. But as of tonight, Joe Biden has won the South Carolina Democratic primary by around 30%, a little bit under 50%, and the current delegate number is what it is right now. South Carolina is not fully done yet. They have over 80% of precincts reporting, but not all of the delegates have been allocated. In fact, almost a little bit more than half have been allocated. 27 delegates to Biden, 7 for Sanders. The rest of the candidates will not get any because they did not pass the 15% threshold. However, there will be more delegates allocated to Biden and Sanders by the end of tomorrow. But since I am making this video tonight, it looks like I'm not going to be able to throw that in because I'm not going to assume any candidate is going to get a certain amount of delegates. However, during the South Carolina Democratic primary, I took it upon myself to add up all of the delegates given by the FiveThirtyEight forecast in each individual state for all 6 of the candidates on your screen, and just show you an overall estimate after Super Tuesday and what we might expect. There will be major takeaways at the end, but we're going to start with the candidates that got the least amount of delegates. Actually, we might not just do that. We're just going to go ahead and start from the bottom states and then move our way up. So actually, the American Samoa is the first area we are going to hit. They do not have that many delegates. They're expected 2 for Joe Biden, 2 for Bernie Sanders, 1 for Elizabeth Warren, and 1 for Mike Bloomberg. That puts Bloomberg with his first official delegate. So that's the American Samoa projection. Obviously, Vermont is a Bernie Sanders victory state. 13 projected delegates for Bernie Sanders, 1 for Buttigieg, 1 for Warren, and 1 for Bloomberg. Moving on to the state of Maine, we're going to take time to talk about some of the bigger states. These are obviously just smaller elections that don't hold too much weight. You need 1,900 and some delegates in order to win the election. So obviously this is not too impactful if there's only 24 delegates at stake. Bernie Sanders is expected to get 10 delegates. Joe Biden is expected to get 4. Elizabeth Warren is expected to get 3. Michael Bloomberg gets 3 as well. And Pete Buttigieg gets 3 along with the rest of them. And that leaves 1 delegate. Obviously, like I said, not every delegate will be filled in, but most of them will be. Utah, this isn't too big of a state, obviously. Utah, though, did overwhelmingly go to Bernie Sanders back in 2016, and he's winning here with 15 delegates to Joe Biden's 1. Warren has 5. Bloomberg also has 5. Buttigieg has 4. Bloomberg has 5. And Amy Klobuchar has 0. I guess they messed up on that count. I guess they... probably I rounded up for all of them, so when it gives 0.6, I gave that one to Joe Biden. I'm probably going to assume that Joe Biden isn't going to get any because if he's expected to get 1, he's probably not going to cross that threshold. And Bloomberg is expected to get 5, so I'll give him that 5. So right now, just a little bit current of an update. Bernie Sanders definitely doing a little bit better in some of these states. Now officially taking a pretty strong lead in the nationwide race as expected. Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden actually tie in Arkansas, surprisingly. Warren gets 1. Bloomberg is getting 8 here, so he's actually doing well amongst this group of people as well. And Buttigieg ends up getting 4. Moving over to Oklahoma, this is actually previously Sanders territory, now Joe Biden territory. Wins the state, second win. Warren is expected to get 2 delegates. Bloomberg is expected to get 10. Keep in mind, a lot of these Bloomberg voters are also Biden voters, so not exactly the best look for Joe Biden, but still a win in that state regardless. Moving over to Alabama, this is an area that Joe Biden is expected to do pretty well in. He gets 48% of the delegates there. Bernie Sanders gets 11. So let's go ahead and characterize that. Warren gets 2. Bloomberg gets 13. And Buttigieg gets, actually, does he get 0? Buttigieg gets 1 delegate there. Moving over to Tennessee, this is also Biden country. Biden gets 24 delegates according to FiveThirtyEight. Not many big states have come up, by the way. Obviously, you guys have seen the screen. But there should be something interesting later on. California and Texas definitely need to pay attention to that. 4 delegates for Elizabeth Warren, Michael Bloomberg at 15, and Buttigieg at 2. Moving over to Colorado, it's starting to get a little bit bigger in terms of delegate count here. Colorado, there have been other states with this many delegates. 32 for Bernie Sanders, so definitely a big blowout for him. Almost 50% of the vote here. Actually, it might just be almost 50% here. Biden gets 11. Warren also shares that 11, so she's actually getting a tie for second place here. A little bit better for her. Buttigieg gets 5, and then Bloomberg gets 7. So let's go ahead and characterize that. There are none for the other candidates. I'm trying to get this specific. Moving over to Minnesota. Now, this is what Joe Biden meant by he wanted Amy Klobuchar into the race entering into Super Tuesday. She can take away a number of delegates that Bernie Sanders definitely could have gotten. 27 for him in the state of Minnesota. Biden is expected to get 7. Elizabeth Warren also expected to get 7 as well. Michael Bloomberg getting 1. And then Buttigieg getting 3. So if you keep looking at the updated map, Sanders still doing well. Massachusetts, this is definitely a face-off between Sanders and Warren, but Sanders takes away at this one with 36 total delegates. Elizabeth Warren with a total of 23. And Joe Biden at 14. Bloomberg at 10. Surprisingly, wow, that's actually a pretty large number. 10 for Bloomberg and 7 for Pete Buttigieg. So that leaves 1 toss-up. Moving over to Virginia, both Sanders and Biden are going to be here within the same week, today and tomorrow. So 35, actually, it's a tie here. 35 for Biden, 35 for Sanders. This might change just because of the endorsements that came out tonight. 4 for Elizabeth Warren and 20 for Bloomberg, 6 for Buttigieg. So let's give Buttigieg a 6, 20 for Bloomberg. I guess we're going to peak it off at 19. Moving up to North Carolina, Biden is expected a victory here, but still not the biggest victory. He gets 46 delegates. Bernie Sanders gets 33. This is an area where Joe Biden definitely should do well because of the racial composition, but at the same time, Bernie Sanders definitely does have a shot at possibly winning North Carolina. Keep in mind, Bloomberg is definitely doing well in southern states because of his political ads and a number of other resources he's pouring into the races, but we have 2 more states to cover, Texas and California, and these are really good news for Bernie Sanders. A tie with Joe Biden in terms of delegate count. I actually think that Bernie Sanders is going to end up being the victor here. Warren gets 16 delegates. Buttigieg gets 4 in a state as big as this. It's definitely not a good look. Bloomberg gets 46. And then Klobuchar gets 0. And for California, this is where Bernie Sanders takes away a large portion of the delegates, 227 delegates for Bernie Sanders, a mere, let's look at the number, actually, let me make sure this is perfect, go there, okay, and then Biden is at 90, not the worst number, but definitely could be a lot better. There's already 3 million absentee ballots cast, so not much is going to change from that South Carolina vote. Biden gets 90, Warren gets 59, and Bloomberg actually doesn't do the best, but he does get some delegates, definitely enough to be noteworthy, getting 30, and then Buttigieg gets 11. So I give Buttigieg his 11 here. Bloomberg does get 30. So pretty much that finalizes the Super Tuesday numbers. If I'm missing anything, I don't think I am. It should total up with Bernie Sanders in the lead compared to Joe Biden. So pretty much this breaks away this race into a 2-way race. Looking at the California, Texas results, big states, not a lot of votes for Joe Biden out of both of them. Texas was won by Hillary Clinton by a pretty large amount. Biden definitely should be doing well here, especially if you add up the O'Rourke vote that previously was Biden territory. Well, now it looks like Bernie Sanders was carrying that momentum in, and it looks like he just might into Tuesday. But things definitely can change if it's a race that close. South Carolina definitely could make all the difference, but California definitely decided for Bernie Sanders. Ends up being a Sanders victory. He did not win the state back in 2016. Hillary Clinton won the state of California. Enough to put her over the top. She didn't win a majority of pledged delegates, but she still got a lot of her support from the state of California. Doesn't look like Biden is going to do too well. But this race pretty much ends up being a 2-way race with Bloomberg in 3rd, Warren in 4th, Buttigieg in 5th, Klobuchar in 6th. Those same 6 candidates. There are other candidates. Tulsi Gabbard is still in the race. However, this finalizes with Biden and Sanders breaking away from the rest of the pack. They are the only ones who legitimately have a chance past this point, and we could possibly see Bloomberg dropping out, Warren dropping out, Buttigieg dropping out, which I actually do think that will end up boosting both Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden by a pretty substantial amount, obviously, but I think Biden may have the most to gain out of some of these potential dropouts. But besides that, these numbers are very informative. It gives us a general idea of what to expect. We're starting to see an exact line of what we saw in 2016 with the line down into the South for Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton territory, over into the Sun Belt area, which actually was Hillary Clinton territory, but only because the primaries were held a little bit later on. And Nevada was very close in the beginning anyways, so when Bernie actually had a lot of name recognition, Hillary Clinton had pretty much already secured the nomination in terms of superdelegates at that point. But just looking further, we have a number of races out, such as Mississippi, Louisiana, Georgia, Florida, that definitely should have good news for Joe Biden. But when we're talking about up north states, Midwest, out there near the, West Coast as well, definitely a good look for Bernie Sanders altogether. So it looks like Bernie Sanders may still be on track to winning the nomination, but definitely usurped by this energy brought in past the South Carolina debate, moving into Super Tuesday. Again, this is not an exact science. This is just a prediction from 538 as of today. Things definitely can change overnight. Sanders can end up winning more. Biden could end up winning more. You never know, but this is a pretty good and accurate prediction for what we have right now. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to comment down suggestions below, and I will see you all tomorrow.